JBN, we keep you informed. 3 shot dead within 24 hours in Clarendon. 2 men were shot dead in Maypen, Clarendon, during an early morning attack by gunmen on Monday. The deceased have been identified as Greg Smith, 41 years old, of Chateau District, Clarendon, and Bonita Williams, otherwise called Bunny, a 61-year-old St. Elizabeth resident. The murders bring to 3 the number of persons killed in the parish in 24 hours, and to a total of 4 the number of persons killed in the parish since the start of the year, police sources said. Reports are that about 5:42 a.m., residents heard explosions in our section of the Birdshill community and alerted the police. A team of investigators later arrived, and during a search, the bodies of 2 men were found. In another incident on Sunday, another man was shot dead by gunmen in the A's section of the parish. The victim in that attack has been identified as Stefano Frank, otherwise called Yellow, a 35-year-old machine operator. Reports are that about 7:15 p.m., Frank was standing outside his gate in Newtown Phase 2 Hayes in Clarendon when gunmen aboard a motor vehicle drove up and opened fire, hitting him several times. The men then fled the scene. Frank was taken to the hospital by the police, where he was pronounced dead. Police said there is no indication that the 2 incidents were linked. Manchester man charged for murder in bitter love triangle attack. Detectives assigned to the Manchester Police Division say they have charged a 30-year-old man following the shooting death of a woman at a food store on South Racecourse Road, Mandeville, on Tuesday, December 31, 2019. Charged with murder, illegal possession of a gun and ammunition is Andre Broomfield of New Green District, Manchester. 24-year-old Chantel White, otherwise called Shan, an inventory clerk of Wilbin Street, Greyground, Manchester, was shot several times about 6:15 p.m. inside the lunchroom of the establishment. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, White was seen with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was processed, and White was taken to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Police said Broomfield's court date will be announced later. Police investigators say they're investigating reports that the shooting death of White stemmed from a feud that she had with Broomfield, said to be her lover. Lawyers still shaken after gun salute injury. Attorney at law Janet Levy has been left traumatized after champagne-sipping celebrations of the new year with friends atop a balcony in the upscale community of Plantation Heights, St. Andrew, quickly deteriorated into a rush to the emergency room. Levy, who suffered a gunshot wound to the elbow on Sunday, she said that her arm was still numb, but she's undergoing physiotherapy and is expected to make a complete recovery after the bullet that was lodged near a major nerve was surgically removed. It has since been handed to the police. From the heights of the community, Levy family and friends had been watching fireworks on the Kingston waterfront, the annual event hosted by the Urban Development Corporation at the Victoria Pier, when her hand clutching a wine glass suddenly went numb. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see any flashing. It just came out of the blue, and then I felt a second rush and cried out. That's when my friends gathered around me, shone a light on my hand, and we realized that it was bleeding, she recalled. They were all still in the dark up to that point, until someone noticed that the sleeve of her dress was torn in the region of the elbow. Only then did it dawn on them that something had pierced her flesh, like 15-year-old Abigail Mullins, who was shot in the head in Mount Salem, St. James, and underwent emergency surgery to remove a warhead. It is believed that she was a victim of the dangerous discharging of guns island-wide, timed to coincide with the ringing in of the new year. 3 others, a 22-year-old customer service clerk of Spanish Town, who was shot along Mockay Lane about 1:20 a.m., a 6-year-old supervisor, hit in the vicinity of Praise City Worship Church in Arnett Gardens about 1:50, and the journalist William Mitchell, who was struck while inside his house, were injured in the illegal tradition. It was not long after midnight when Levy was hit, as she recalls that the fireworks were still going off downtown. We speculated at the time that it was a gunshot wound, but we didn't panic. We hurried, of course, knowing that it was an emergency, but we were level-headed. I got a sling, a belt, put my hand in it, and we hurried down to Andrews Memorial Hospital, and I was admitted. They confirmed that it was a bullet. What happened is that it traveled close to the nerve and lodged between the two elbow bones, she recounted. Looking back, Livy is more traumatized by what might have happened, given that her 8-year-old and 18-year-old children were among the youngsters gathered at what everyone considered to be a safe space. It was out of the blue, so unexpected. It's not something we anticipated or thought about, and it's really reckless behavior that someone would discharge a gun in that wanton and reckless manner, she said. If it was a licensed firearm holder, the weapon was not given to them to use in such a careless way, and I'm hoping that the police will find the person and prosecute them. Rockford quiet but tense, says cops. Divisional Chief of the East Kingston Police Division, Superintendent Victor Hamilton, has commended the 3 persons who came forward and took responsibility for hosting an unauthorized bike fest at the intersection of Warwicker and the Aguilar Roads on the night of December 26, 2019, when 4 persons were shot and injured. The police had refused to grant permission for the event because of tensions in the area. The 3 persons have since been served with summonses to appear in court this month. They step forward is like them man up, and so they have a court date to answer to the charges, Hamilton said. The persons who owned up were actually warned by the police on Boxing Day when they were seen setting up a bar as well as equipment to play music. Hamilton described their defiance of orders on the night as deliberate and well orchestrated to avoid detection, since lawmen had maintained a presence in the area even after midnight. He said the persons, having been advised that the permit was denied because tensions in the area could have led to violence, knew well the risk since they were from the community. When that particular person goes further to defy the instructions of the police and to use social media to lure unsuspecting persons to the area, you don't put up a poster because the police will see it and take action. Then you should face the consequences of your actions, he insisted. While there had been a walkthrough of the area by a member of parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal, Philip Paulwell, Hamilton said that he could not say whether that intervention could be credited for the relative calm in the area. It is still quiet, but very tense nonetheless. But we are happy for any kind of peace we can have, he noted, while acknowledging that the police continue to be hampered by the unwillingness of residents to share information. Without information, the job of the police is made that much harder to arrest persons, get convictions, and rid the communities of gangs. We are still asking persons to rethink their situation, that the gangs are their savior, said the divisional chief. Hamilton described as unfortunate the fact that so many residents within the East Kingston Police Division remained trapped, depending on the proceeds of crime for economical survival. So them now give you no information because their son is involved or the neighbor's son is involved, and if anything comes across, they'll benefit in some way. It is just such a tragedy that persons can't seem to understand that their lives would be so much better without the presence of guns and gangs, that they would lead a much better quality of life. Property tax delinquency balloons in Longville Park. The Clarendon Municipal Corporation has raised an alarm at the $44.7 million in property taxes owed by some residents of Longville Park in the parish. And with just 3 months to go before the current fiscal year ends, the parish of Clarendon has a huge bill of $1.5 billion in property taxes. Mayor of Maypen, Winston Mirage, who sounded the alarm at the last municipal corporation meeting held in December, said that several summonses would be served on delinquent residents of the community. They usually have a good collection rate, and then suddenly the Longville Park people have dropped off, and so we have the other housing schemes ahead of them right now in terms of collection, he said. Mirage said that efforts would be made to reach out to the residents to encourage compliance. Assistant Public Relations Officer for the Longville Park Community Development Committee, Camilla Ewers, said that she was aware of the delinquency problems, noting that the matter was discussed at one of the community meetings. However, she said that some residents were making plans to make deposits on their arrears, while others have indicated that they have been faced with financial setbacks. From what I gather, some are no longer employed, while a few are facing illnesses which see them having to choose between property tax and medication, she said. US said that efforts were being made to carry out a public education exercise to inform residents that garbage collection and streetlights were funded by property taxes. In an emailed response, the municipal corporation said that delinquent residents have been taken to court on a monthly basis. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.